Yes, you guys, how are all of you doing? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV, and welcome to the match preview of our upcoming game tomorrow against Liverpool in the European Super Cup. Now, we do have a previous history with this tournament, unfortunately losing it on 2 occasions, and as Frank Lampard was saying himself, he doesn't want to lose it again. It's a great opportunity, and it's very rare to get the opportunity to win this cup. Lampard would hope that we're able to get something positive and hopefully win the cup. He's going to set us up to try and win this game. And in today's match preview, I'm going to break down Lampard's press conference, the predictor lineup for the game tomorrow, as well as discussing all things tactics. It's definitely a match preview that you guys don't want to miss out on. But before I get into things, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. If you guys want to help me out, download the OneFootball app. It is going to be in the link in the description below. However, before I get into anything, very quickly, smash that like button, help me get more than 1,500 likes for today's video. Now, moving straight into the press conference, focusing on key aspects and details from the conference. Obviously, Lampard was asked whether he felt optimistic against Liverpool, and Lampard said that he does, and he's never going to doubt the team's ability. Lampard went on to say that he wants to win the Super Cup as he's already lost it twice as a player. When he was asked about experience versus Liverpool, he implied that Kante will provide that. Also, he continued on by talking about that he's always going to pick the best players to win regardless of age, meaning that he isn't an ageist. He isn't going to favour younger players over older players, even though he kind of is, and as I said, that's okay. But getting back to things, and he mentioned Mason Mount, implying that Mason is playing merely due to merit. Now, he was asked about a winning mentality and whether we can replace Hazard in the team, and Lampard said that the team bond and spirit is very high, and that's something that he really wants to strengthen and cultivate throughout the season. He said that there is a winning mentality ingrained at this club. Now, moving on to Pedro and Azpi said that he felt like the team controlled the game against Man United other than the result, saying that we have to improve what we did wrong. Pedro spoke more, and he spoke about wanting to win this trophy, with Azpi following by mentioning that it's hard to get the opportunity to win this cup. Now, Pedro spoke about Tammy Abraham in a very endearing way, saying that the team felt confident about him and will only help encourage him as he's only going to get better because he's young. Now, for me, it's clear that the team are looking to bounce back in a big way against Liverpool, and it's good to see that the spirits are unwavering and are very high. Some of the Spanish players haven't been known to be very helpful when it comes to working alongside young players, so it's great to see that these guys are now stepping up and looking to become big parts of the team. Now, moving on to the predicted lineup part for today's video, starting with Kepa in goal, which is fairly obvious. Moving on to the defence now. It's looking like Rudiger isn't going to be fully fit just yet, so I'm expecting us to use the same back four that we used against Man United. So, hello Christensen, welcome Emerson, who has been on point recently, Azpilicueta, who we're hoping is going to fare much better against Liverpool, and of course Kurt Zuma, and let's pray that his confidence does return, and hopefully the team did work a tiny bit on the defensive line. Now, because we are going to use a 4-2-3-1, I do have cover with Jorginho in the pivot. Now, when it comes to the front three, we need to consider certain things that Lampard was saying in the press conference. And Lampard did mention that he is going to make subtle changes, and he spoke about maintaining the intensity with our work rate. So that immediately tells me that Ross Barkley will be replaced by Christian Pulisic. Now, that does make a lot of sense to this decision. I will speak about this in greater detail in the tactical segment for today, but Puli will be joined by Mount, and of course, because we have no one else down the right hand side, Pedro, but his movement is key on its day. Now, when it comes to the striker position, I've been torn between Giroud and Tammy. Now, when it comes to Olivier Giroud, the guy has done pretty well against Van Dijk over the years. He's strong, great physically as well, and he's very good with his hold-up play. But when it comes to Tammy, and when it comes to what Lampard wants to do with his team, it relies a lot on speed and runs behind. And because I think we are going to use a counter-attacking style, I think Tammy is going to complement playing alongside Pulisic, Mount, and Pedro more than Giroud, and that's simply down to the fact that Giroud likes to move towards the ball and play more central, and by doing that, of course, it means that we can't be as fluid when it comes to making runs in behind Liverpool's defensive line. So because of that reason, I'm expecting Tammy to continue to play. And, when you deep it for a second too, the way Tammy's been spoken about during the press conference implies that he will be starting. And if he doesn't start, well, that's kind of counterproductive. I mean, what does that do for his confidence? What does that tell Tammy? It would tell him that Lampard doesn't fully trust him just yet, and that's the last thing that Tammy needs right now, and that's the last thing that Tammy needs when he's first starting to play for us. Now, moving on to the tactical segment, my immediate worry for the game tomorrow is how our defensive line is going to fare. Now, against Man United, there was zero communication. It seemed like the players were pretty uncomfortable playing alongside each other as well, and we were never consistently able to keep a solid defensive line. And when you play against a team like Liverpool, that's the last thing you can afford to do, because they have elite forwards up front who make incredible runs and behinds. They know how to penetrate teams, and if you're not on point, if you're not solid, then you're not going to fare very well against Liverpool. Now, one area in which Liverpool are very difficult to play against is how they use the half spaces. Now, I'll use Salah as an example. And Salah normally has TAAA, getting very high and advanced up the field. And he likes to hold his position in these areas, because by doing this, it forces one of the fullbacks to have to come out wide. And once that happens, that allows Salah to have space in the half spaces where he can, withdraw from the attacking line and move more in field. He can run in behind, or he has the ability to cut inside and take shots. And in this system, Salah's been given a lot more creative freedom, where basically he does have a free roll and he can go wherever he wants. Now for consistency, let me do the left hand side very quickly. As I was saying, their forwards have the ability to make runs where they want, but one of the dangers is how Liverpool are able to create those direct, fast passes for their front three, and that's because their midfield are very comfortable in possession, and they tend to play a bit deeper, because their plan is they want the opposition to obviously get attracted towards them and their pressing, because Liverpool are able to have an outlet out wide from the fullbacks, or they can play through that press. And as we saw against Man United, the gaps and distances between our midfield and our defence grew bigger and bigger, and it made it very easy for simple direct passes straight to attacking players, and it caused tons of issues for our defensive line. And I am worried that this could potentially happen again against Liverpool if we don't come with a smart game plan. Now, when it comes to us, and for tomorrow's game, I think that we are going to play with a more counter-attacking style. And I say this because during previous preseason games, we've seen Christian playing down the left-hand side. And what he's been able to do, and what Lampard expects from the player, is for him to make runs in behind. And this has been really important for us, because it's allowed Christian to use his great acceleration and pace. And when you're in these certain areas of the field, this becomes very important. And we know that Pulisic and his acceleration, and we know that with Pulisic and his acceleration in short distances, he's going to beat most players. And this is why he's been able to attack the spaces, and we basically form a front two. And this helps because it allows us to have some solidity in midfield, and against Liverpool, we're desperately going to need that. And of course, it creates other attacking opportunities for guys like Pedro to make runs in behind, or Mason Mount. Off the ball, I'm hoping that we are going to match Liverpool in midfield, because as I'm saying, the spaces between the lines here are very dangerous, and they're areas in which Liverpool have, their most strength. And this is how Liverpool like to play. And this is how they've had so much fortune. So I think to counter this, we need to match them in midfield. I'm expecting Mason Mount to fall back into midfield as well, creating a midfield five with Tammy withdrawing deeper as well, because it's crucial that we defend the half spaces very well. Otherwise, you're going to make this game extremely easy for Liverpool. When it comes to counter-attacks, we're hoping that Tammy is going to be able to hold up the ball well. And if he does, he'll have support from guys like Mason Mount, Pulisic moving closer towards him as well. and Pedro as well. And what's going to be key against Liverpool is the attacking transitions. How good is the quality of our play going to be? How are we going to be able to find our key players in the half spaces ourselves? Because we're going to have to rely on quick, sharp counter-attacks to help us get in these areas to get at Liverpool. Because with Liverpool, if your counter-attack is strong, if you are brave, you can get through them, you can affect their defensive line. We saw that with Norwich. Norwich had a few opportunities. They were brave, they tried to play attacking football, and there were times where Pukki was, making runs in behind and breaking the lines. But to be able to create these opportunities, we're going to have to be solid. We're going to have to be defensively responsible as well. The midfield are going to have to be intelligent. And I'm just thinking, all the crazy amount of work Sarri put into positional play last season seems to have gone out the window immediately. And of course, the introduction of some new players is definitely going to affect that. But you're hoping that there is going to be greater discipline, because if the midfield goes, if we get sucked in and we get exposed on the counter-attack, it's not going to be good for us. It's really not. And I'm hoping that, if we're methodical with how we play and, very patient as well, we can create these opportunities where we can affect Liverpool. And you know what? I think that it's going to be a huge undertaking. Ideally, I'm hoping that we get a positive performance and it's something to be proud of, a performance where we can build from that and bring that confidence into the game this week against Leicester. That's the best outcome. I think it may be a bit ambitious to expect us to win against Liverpool. Liverpool are really far ahead in their tactical development, and Lampard still can't even get the foundations right because most of the guys that he wants to use aren't even available to him. So in a sense, Lampard's having a similar start to how Sarri had last season. However, I'm confident that as the season progresses, things will be good. But for this game, of course, we can hope and pray that the power of the cup and the old Chelsea spirit is going to come out. But still, it's just football. You can't always rely on stuff like that. And I'm thinking that Liverpool will win this game. I'm hoping that it's going to be a respectable scoreline, and where it looks like, on a better day with more luck, we could have got something from the game. And on that note, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Line CV, signing out.